So have you figured out what was unusual about column number 3 and column number 6 here that we asked about in the previous video? As we increase the quantity, what has happened to each of these marginal utilities for pizza and wall climbing? You should have noticed that they are constantly decreasing. As you consume more pizza, the marginal utility you get for consuming each additional pizza is decreasing. As you consume each additional half hour of wall climbing, you notice your marginal utility is also going to fall as well. It's consistently falling for each of these particular goods, and that makes sense, right? As you go ahead and do more of a good, or eat more of good, or purchase more of a good or service, you're going to get less and less additional utility for each additional sort of good that you consume. So as you eat more and more pizza, you're getting less and less marginal utility. As you climb more and more walls, you're getting less and less utility for a lot of different reasons. And the special name that we give to this relationship between quantity and marginal utility is going to be called the law of diminishing marginal utility. As one consumes a product, more of a product, the additional satisfaction from each unit is going to fall. So essentially it just tells you that the very first unit of this good that you consume is going to give you a lot of satisfaction, it's going to give you a lot of additional happiness, but because you already have one of these particular units, every single additional unit that you get from beyond this one unit is going to give you some type of additional utility, but not the same amount. It's going to be something less than that. So this is going to be very apparent in a lot of things that we do in everyday life as well, whether it be consuming a lot of food, whether it be doing a particular task, doing the same repetitive task over and over again. This is something that does hold true in real life and application. Just think about all the things that you don't do all the time because of the law of diminishing marginal utility. So just to go ahead and give you a clearer example of this sort of impact in effect, let's go ahead and take a look at two particular videos right here. The first one with The Simpsons, and see the diminishing law of marginal utility coming into fruition here.
Is it safe to eat that much food, Dr. Hibbert?
You know, I wouldn't have thought so before I bought 12% of this restaurant, but now I feel a balanced diet can include the occasional eating contest.
But what if he chokes?
Not to worry. We have the latest Heimlich machine.
On your left, the pride of the American trucking industry, reliable Red Barkley. And on your right, Homer somebody.
Go! Yeah! Go, Homie!
Gluttons to your marks. And Gort.
No, Homer, don't fill up on bread!
Huh? Oh, right, the steak!
Come on, Dad. Pick up the pace. Chew and swallow. No savoring.
Must eat beef. Must defeat guy I just met. So much steak. Lungs filling. Sinuses packed with meat.
Come on, Dad. Just 12 more pounds.
Oh, humans are so ridiculous. He's not even halfway through Walter, and he's already hallucinating.
Lousy drunks. I'll show them. What's happening to me? There's still food, but I don't want to eat it. I've become everything I've ever hated.
So we see the law of diminishing marginal utility here in full effect. Homer loves steak, he loves food, but every additional bite that he takes of this steak gives him less and less utility. So once again, we see that in play. Take a look at one more example using New Girl.
Hey, Jess, I brought you some tea. Just gonna leave it right here, okay? There you go. So, Russell. Ouch, right? I mean, who saw that coming? Not me. Certainly not Russell. I guess you saw it coming. I mean, because you're the one who broke up with him.
Leave, Smith.
All right, fine, I'll leave. But you know what? Know this. You're not the only one that's hurting here, Jessica Day. The economy stinks. Bees are dying. Movies are pretty much all sequels now. And I have a broken penis. Don't pretend to know my pain. Hey, Jess.
Hey,
What's this song called?
the river. Do you like it?
Yeah, I liked it when you played it for the first time at 10 o'clock last night. I liked it a little bit less at 2 a.m. And now I'm kind of hoping that the sun comes up, thaws that river, and that woman drowns.
Get out! Russell was perfect. What's wrong with me? Am I self-sabotaging? Am I secretly a Cylon?
You just didn't love him.
But what if it's me? What if I have some idea of love in my head and it's just totally wrong?
Do not second guess yourself, okay? It was a tough choice, but it was the right choice.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So what do you think about turning off that song?
I just feel like I should
Off. Turn it off.
Oh my God,
No, come on, 80 more times, I get it now, it's a rip.
And I'm sure this is something that has happened to a lot of us in the past. Basically, we hear a song on the radio, we like a lot, and basically the more and more times the radio plays a song, we like it even less every single time it shows up on the radio, or we hear it on the radio. It happens every single year. Happens with Despacito, with Justin Bieber, most recently with Post Malone and Circles. I'm pretty sure there's going to be a new song every single year that gets overplayed on the radio, and we get less and less utility every time it is going to be played. But essentially, we see the law of diminishing utility in each of these particular examples in each of these videos, and that is going to lead the way for us to say, hey, this is exactly why we make our decisions on marginal utility in order for us to maximize total utility. So on the graph that we have right here, we notice that total utility is rising, but it rises at a decreasing rate. It reaches a peak, and then eventually it's going to start falling. And the reason for this is because remember that marginal utility, the sum of marginal utilities, is going to be the essentially total utility for that amount of good or for that particular quantity. So we start off fairly high with fairly high marginal utility when we have the first unit of the good, and that causes total utility to be rising at a sort of rapid rate. But each additional unit that we consume, we notice that our marginal utility is going down. That tells us that total utility, it is increasing, but at a decreasing rate. And then eventually, once we hit a particular quantity, it's going to reach a peak. The total utility is going to reach a peak. But if we consume past this particular point, we notice that marginal utility becomes negative, and then when marginal utility becomes negative, our total utility starts dropping, and if we consume too much of the good, total utility can become negative as well. So essentially, as we can see right here, we are going to be making our decisions based off of marginal utility in order for us to maximize our total utility. So you're going to notice that these two things are very closely related to one another. With all of this in mind, we're going to make our way to a marginal utility analysis, which is going to show us exactly what is the maximum amount of both of these goods that we should be consuming and what the total utility level is going to be for us. So what is the optimum consumption bundle based on the choices that are given to us and also based on our constraints? That's going to be the big maximization problem that we need to go ahead and take a look at for this chapter.